There we go. Transit TV, welcome back again. Welcome to our AFCON studios, continuation of our coverage of the AFCON competition going on in Côte d'Ivoire. Some very enticing and interesting games today. We're looking at the games that came up today. Nigeria, of course, we know, won Côte d'Ivoire for the first time at home, 1-0, courtesy of a penalty by the captain of the team, AFCON. Equatorial Guinea earlier in the day won 4-2 against Guinea-Bissau, making them sit pretty top on the table. And of course, we just saw Egypt and Ghana play out a 2-2 draw. Uguma and Chuma will be giving us an update from that game. So we're here today. Yeah, of course, welcome. Chuma is here, Uguma is here as usual to help us unpack the events in those games. Guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. Pleasure to be here. Choma, pleasure to be on this panel with you today.
Thank you, Boom. Thank you, Reggie. I'm so excited. Judging from the scoreline, the Nigerian game.
Yeah. Oh, like I said earlier, the first game today was Equatorial Guinea beating Guinea-Bissau 4-2. Yeah, I expected Equatorial Guinea to win that game, but not with the way the margin, the way it panned out. Of course, we saw the first hat-trick in this competition since 2008 by Emilio Insue, the veteran of the team. Rounded up his good performance in the tournament so far. He's the guy I think I remember he's the guy that scored against Nigeria as well. So now he has 4 goals in the tournament already after 2 games, which is very impressive of him and a good thing for the team. And of course, they have put themselves in line to qualify for the next stage of the competition. I think there is going to be a best loser chance. So even if they don't make it by being top 2 in the group, I think they have a chance of still qualifying. I don't know, what's your take on did you watch that game? What did you make of that game?
I did, and like you rightly said, I expected a win. I actually wanted a draw, of course, but Equatorial Guinea showed why they are rated. You see, anybody that's underrating that team is not aware of the recent history. As far as that team is concerned, they've qualified for 4 Nations Cups, recently, and they seem to be the form team. Mm-hmm. They know what they are doing. A bunch of them actually play in Portugal and some other countries in Europe. Mm-hmm. So I expect the way they played against Nigeria. Yes, we talked about the Nigerian team not living up to potential in that game. The fact that they were restricted to only one shot at goal with which they scored showed that maybe the Nigerian team is perhaps a bit stronger than we give it credit for, because Nigeria really dominated them in that game. Mm-hmm. But they came out in this game, and of course they were more settled. And Nsue is a guy that's been in Europe and been there and done that. So he showed his quality as a veteran player that's exposed and knows how to put the ball in the net. So yeah, they ended up winning that game 4-2. Perhaps if that game had gone on for another 5 minutes or so, maybe Guinea-Bissau may have put one more goal back, because they really, for the last 10 minutes of the game, really attacked Equatorial Guinea and got 4-2, and we're heading towards 4-3, if not for one or two things that happened. So on the strength of it, it was a good game, interesting game. Definitely, Equatorial Guinea isn't a team to be ignored in this competition. I think they're going to cause a stir. Probably not win it, but they may be spoilers for one of the big teams.
Yeah, I hear you there. Yeah, I think, like saying that they could be spoilers will be like you're saying that because of the reputation in the past. But from what I have seen, they might not be. They might actually be one of the big boys eventually if they hold their, because from what I saw against with them, they can hold their own against Côte d'Ivoire. This Ivory Coast team that I saw doesn't look like they have any edge over Equatorial Guinea. So if they get a draw from the Ivory Coast, they all of a sudden become one of the favorites to win the tournament, because all it takes is to have teamwork, unity, and harmony in your team, and the sense of purpose. Then attack the competition, and who knows? It's a matter of 3-4 games. You're in the finals. Chama, you heard what Ugum said. I don't know, what have you made of this competition? In terms of quality of play, or what has stood out for you? That you have found mostly almost all the teams.
Well, I think if there's anything I've seen in this competition is the strengths, the team strengths. I can tell you that you can't write off any African team from where I'm standing, no matter what. I mean, the underdogs in quotes that are coming on strong.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even, there's nobody you can say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to kick this team, kick them, helplessly, or keep them at the sidelines, because they all come with this team strength. There's a certain level of growth I see in African football teams. Moving forward, I think, the supposed giants are actually, the ones struggling, if I can say.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I'll start with you on that. Obviously, I don't know, our viewers, I'm sure you guys have seen the video that was dropped this morning, reacting to the comment made by Eto about Bafana not holding their own when it comes to AFCON, and I wanted to react to that comment. And just like I said in that video, if you have not watched that video, is go to our the channel now. You'll find it there and see. And also, let's hear your own opinion with regards to the comment that Eto made, and what I have said that for me is the reason why they have not been doing good. It's just like what Chima has been saying. If you look at some of these small teams, so to say, small teams in Africa, they have their players playing all over Europe. Some are in France, Portugal, and these players go out there and gain a lot of knowledge and exposure to big stadiums, advanced stadiums and atmosphere, survive it. And so when they come to these tournaments, they play like they've been playing everywhere around the globe. And this is what I think has been a problem for South Africa. Most of their players don't go outside; they play within their league, and they have limited exposure and limited experience to when it comes to tournaments like this. So look at a country like Cape Verde. We saw them the other day hold their own, because most of their players play outside the country. So and when you do this, it exposes you and arms you with a lot of skills, confidence, exposure, and strength to attack the competition. So that's what we have seen so far in this tournament as well.
I don't think that's all it is. Yeah.
No, as in it's part of it. Of course, there are going to be so many reasons. I don't know what your own view is, but that for me, I think that ability to go out and because it's not easy for you to leave your country at the age of 19, as some players do, 20, and go out there, fight for shirt, face the adversity, being benched and all whatnot, and hold your. So when you survive all those kind of harsh realities in this game, in this career, then it becomes a little bit easier for you compared to somebody who has been stay in the comfort of his house or his home, his family, his country, his team. They find it relatively easy. So when it comes to, and of course, when you play in Europe, you're also playing against different types of coaches and teams who try to figure you and your team out. So so it also gives you that ability to handle different kinds of styles of play. So that's the way I see it. Then we look at, of course, Ivory Coast Nigerian game. That was the second game of the day today, and of course the game of the day as well. Nigeria managed to beat Côte d'Ivoire because they were on the verge of leaving the competition. If Nigeria had lost today, of course we know they would have packed their bags and left the competition, because that would have been very, very a very bad situation to find themselves. So and that game, just like you said, Choma, one thing I have found out in this competition is almost all the teams look serious. They look committed. The physicality is there from both teams. Everybody is fighting for the team, fighting for the badge, limiting the opponents to little or nothing to deal with. Apart from just a few games that we have seen that be a little bit open. The Nigeria Cote d'Ivoire game was it was fiercely contested by both teams. Of course, there were errors, but of course, it cannot take away the commitment of the players from both sides. Victor Osimhen again continued with his poor run in front of goal. He lost a clear chance today. I think he had the opportunity to also have an assist, but he made the wrong choice by going to the player on his left instead of the one that is easy on his right to slot in the guy into space to make the goals. So I don't know what you guys think about the game. Choma, let me start with you on this one. I know you took your time and watched the game. What's your overall thoughts, and do you think Nigeria has shown enough to be one of the favorites in this competition?
I think I'm actually going to start with what everybody's talking about, by the way, what on the street. So people are just, going on and on about how the formation worked.
Choma there.
I can tell you when Osai came in, he just wasted, an opportunity. Like, you have the ball, instead of you to pass to the nearest person, like we had openings where you could have just made a pass to a player that was standing in the right position and it would have been a goal, but they messed it all up. So that's why I think what helped us today, obviously, is the back line. Mm-hmm. All the boys defending, the ones, whether they are running after people, in the wings. Calvin Bassey stood out for me today.
Yeah, he had a good game. I agree with you.
Aina stood out for me today. I mean, these are boys that we see in Premier League. They are in clubs that, we can usually just say pushover clubs, yeah. But they are holding their own. So for me, today, my man of the match was Calvin Bassey, because that guy sweated a lot. And he just didn't have anything to do about his body weight or whatever, but he did the work. I saw the work rate. So I'm just going to say kudos to the back line. I don't know whatever happened. The midfield, as far as I'm concerned, I wasn't satisfied. Again, and again. Joe Aribo for Iwobi. I love him so much. But the creative aspects that we're lacking is not giving it to us. It's usually a work, he plays lost. I mean, I can go on and on. The rest.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, during the game, I was listening to Joseph Yobo. He was in the commentary booth, and he mentioned something that Nigeria always wins this tournament in between 10 years. And, after 10 years, they tend to show up 1980, 1994, and 2013 or so. And he was opining that this might be the year Nigeria will win it again. I don't know. Have you seen enough to think that Super Eagles have a chance to win this tournament this edition?
Well, should I address the South African thing first? I was waiting on you to give me a chance to say something about it, or should I speak about Green Eagles, Super Eagles first?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about the stuff about South Africa. Your reasoning is yes. That's one of the things even before I listened to your commentary on it, that was the first thing that came to my mind was exposure of their players to other leagues, especially Europe. It makes a lot of difference in winning, in learning the rudiments of the game, in building your game up where you're fearless, where you're calm, where you different circumstances, right? But in addition to that, No offense to any South African that may be listening to this program, but I feel that there's a lot of there's a mentality issue. There's a mental block with South Africans, uh, probably generally, but more so in their football. I don't know what's causing that, but I've seen quite a few South African teams that have the skill, the mobility is there, the
Programs,
technicals,
but I
ability
feel
is
that
there.
there's a lot
But
of
there's always a mental block.
there's a mentality
You know,
issue.
the rise of
There's a mental block
when they
with
meet,
South Africans.
real
Probably generally,
football side.
but more so
You
in
see
their
it in their
football.
eyes. You see it in the way
I don't know what's causing that,
they are
but
not
I've seen
up for
quite a
the
few
game.
South
They are not
African
up
teams
for
that have the
what's
skill,
needed to
the mobility is there,
the
the
likes of
technicals,
Nigeria, the likes of
ability is
and
there,
the rest of them.
but there's always a mental
So,
block. They don't seem to, rise
I
up
would
to
say,
the occasion.
for example,
When they meet,
Ghana just played against.
real
You could see that
reputable
the
sides
Ghanaian
in
guys
Africa.
had the
You see it in their eyes. You see it in the way they
they
play.
were up for the game.
Right?
Right.
They are
Now,
not
they made
up for the game. They are not up for what's needed to
That's where you kind of
beat the likes of Nigeria, the likes of Egypt, and the rest of them. Right? So,
But as for the mentality of
I
matching
would say,
your opponent,
for example, this game Ghana
matching the
just played
person and
against.
saying, hey, you're not going to beat
Yeah,
me today.
you could see that the Ghanaian guys had the mental fortitude. You could see that they were
need a
up for the
proper
game.
psychology
Right? Now,
in South
they made
Africa.
a few mistakes here and there.
To help
Due
you
to that's where you kind of see the difference between the levels of technical competence and the discipline. But as for the mentality of matching your opponent and matching the person and saying, hey, you're not going to beat me today. I can match you, I can stand you, I can beat
Again,
you.
that's where I
They need a proper psychologist
That's one thing I'm proud of.
in South Africa, to help their team. You prepare their team for tournaments.
We are not lacking
That's my observation, from a neutral point of view, from a distance. So, having said that, talking about the Nigeria game, I thought,
would be,
again, that's where I credit Nigeria. I'm Nigerian. That's one thing I'm proud of, is that when we start
or our players overindulging,
right,
and not
we are not lacking in terms of
discipline, the way they play.
mentality part of it.
That kill us.
In terms of
for mentality,
the determination part of it, the things that will finish us off with tournaments will be carelessness, will be lack of discipline, lack of tactical awareness and rules coming from coaching, or our players overindulging and not being disciplined in the way they play. Those are the things that kill us. As for mentality, as for being up for it, Nigeria will be up for it anytime, when it's time. So I think that these guys came into this game saying, hey, you might be Ivory Coast, you might be the host, you might have the crowd behind you, but we are Nigeria. And they played like it, right? We created opportunities. Our coach actually showed some tactical dexterity. Playing Calvin Bassey, when I saw Calvin Bassey together with Zaidu Sanusi, Zaidu and Shemi Ajayi. Again, I was like, what I thought was going to do was to play Calvin and Truss as centre backs and move Sheyi a little bit forward to play midfield, because I know Sheyi can play midfield. He has a good passing range and he's very disciplined. He can sit there and protect the defense. That's what I thought the coach was trying to do. But I was mistaken, because what he did was push Zaidu a little bit towards almost as a left winger, while when in the defensive phase he became a back back. Attacking phase he moved,
but he seems to
not inverted though, but more like a left winger to support the midfield and the attack. And so that's how
He's normally a bit more clinical.
Great opportunities. Victor Shimen, again, I don't know what's going on with Victor mentally in terms of converting chances. I don't know whether he's rushing too much or whether he's putting himself under too much pressure to deliver for Nigeria. But it seems to lack that continent or that composure in front of goal. Uncharacteristic. I know he misses chances, but
he is normally a bit more clinical than this. And so that chance he missed was a big deal for us. Fortunately, he was able to help assist and get a penalty for us to score. There are a lot of things I could say, but let other people talk. Again, when I get another opportunity, there are a few other things I'd like to point out to the game.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, I understand that just to touch base on what you said about the South African team, it still comes back to that exposure, what you were talking, that mental block. Because if you have not gone to St. James's Park with say West Ham to go and play Newcastle and finish fighting with Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton, and of course the hostility of the fans up there, and playing there and seeing and not being able to hear your own fans because they are put like a story, the 8th floor in the stadium, and you survive it, then that's what helps with the mentality. If you have not gone to Old Trafford and get harassed by the players, or travel to in Europe and go to Germany to play Leverkusen, and you have bottles of Heineken thrown on you and poured on your body, that's what brings the mental toughness. So because they are in the comfort of their league, their home, most of them probably don't leave their family houses to go to their club training and games. So they are comfortable. Nobody is threatening your position in your team. The team is not signing anybody to. I know you have stories of Nigerian players who are going to South Africa who can play way better than these players, and they don't get a look in because they are from abroad, because the home players have to be given a chance. So that's what is the problem, because they've not gone out there and tried to make it happen for their careers in a different land, and those things have formed that comfort they are enjoying, and the thing is affecting them when it comes to facing other nationals. That's what I believe, and I think is in line with what you were saying. Nigeria, of course, their game, they stood up for it today, but still, I don't know how Nigeria will be playing almost 6 or 7 man defense. Victor Osimhen is left up front all by himself. The only reason why we are creating chances is because we have players who are dedicated in the kind of grounds that these players cover from our defense to go join Victor up front to make chances. Sometimes I wonder, are these Nigerian players, because it's been a long time I saw Nigerian players work that hard, so the formation of the tactics that the coach is using still finds a lot of flaws in it. But that's that. Our viewers, don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so, and we also want to hear from you. Get busy in the comment section and let us know what you think about these things. These are very, of course, I know passionate and the emotional topics we are handling here. I know Nigeria football is like a religion for us. So I know you guys are interested in what we are saying, and you have your own opinion and your views. So let's hear what you have to say. And we move on to Egypt and Ghana. Another very interesting game. Of course, Egypt came back from 1 goal down twice in that game. Kudus showed continue what he has been doing in EPL this season. As an Arsenal fan, I still don't understand why Arsenal failed to sign that young man last summer. And Trezeguet, he continued his reputation for the national team of Egypt by saving their blushes today. And they were able to come out with a 2-2 draw. Eventually, towards the end of the game, they almost even nicked it. I don't know. I know you watched that game. Choma, you watched that game. I don't know any of those teams. Do you think, like Choma, you said you are the one that has our word on the street. What is the street saying about potential Ghana Nigeria progressing in this tournament?
I mean, the street is. Do you really need me to tell you what the street is? The street of Nigeria. Wow.
Yeah, of course. We have viewers in Uganda. We have in India. We have in Pakistan. So they want to know.
So on the other side, apparently, the jollof rice battle will forever stay. It's a legit battle. They are defeating anytime, any day. It's either the way they are set up, it's their chemistry.
The internet is really
very tactful, and I had so much faith in them. But on the other side, we also realize that the Northern African teams are always boogie. Like they are the boogie teams anytime, any day. It's either the way they are set up, it's their chemistry. Is the way that that they are very
I think even got
their tactics and the way they just push on the ball. But on the side, Mo Salah did not do anything today. Let me even start with that. I don't know what that was.
And the reason they got their goal was because the Ghanaian teams were just like being too open and making very silly mistakes.
I mean,
from
he was just Mo Salah. I think he even got into it with the referee. I don't know what he was trying to say or whatever. But the Egypt team that I saw today, they were a bit spooked. I can say they were spooked, yeah. And the reason they got their goal should be because the Ghanaian teams were just being too open and making very silly mistakes from, my standpoint. That's what I think.
I hear you.
I'm sure that game ended in the Euro, by the way.
Yeah, of course, it was 2-2. Ugum, I know you watched the game, and I don't know if you share Choma's thoughts. For me, like I said, Kudus has been a revelation for African football so far this season, and he's continued that in this tournament. Again, getting 2 goals today from the wings, of course, is something that you cannot just overlook. I don't know what you made of that game.
And it seems to come.
Yes, Kudus was a difference maker. He's really great for Ghana. You see, that's
he tried.
When you're a big player, when it's time to show you're a big player, that dude, again has continued to impress me. He came into the EPL with a good reputation, and he has only enhanced it game after game. He seems to grow, and seems to come once he sees the 18-yard box. The guy seems to come alive. He knows what to do around the 18-yard box. He tried. That second goal, if he hadn't tried it, he wouldn't have gone in. He tried and he just lead off someone. The goalkeeper was unsighted and he scored. So yes, Kudus is a proper African player, proper machine, and I think any club that he plays for will be well served to spend money and get it. And West Ham are reaping the benefits of it. Now, on the general strength of play, Egypt is a team that I did not rate highly. I see even more reasons why I do not rate them highly. Egypt dominated African football for a few years. But one thing with them, the problem they have is transition. Just like many other African countries, the transition isn't there. They're still counting on the same players that won honors for them. If you leave them, they will play the same players for 10 years, without changes. So, but good thing for them is that today I saw a couple of the young man that scored is a young player coming off. They've started giving 1 or 2 people chances.
I can remember.
But they're still playing Mohamed Ahmed. Still starting Mohamed Ahmed. And the rest of them that won honors for them, Mo Salah got injured. This goalkeeper that kept here has kept the last 3 Nations Cup for them. So that's how Egypt, that's how they run. Trezeguet that they brought in, David Trezeguet, has been playing since
forever.
I got no for him.
As long as I can remember.
Yes. So for some reason they think they can continue to play this same team and these guys will continue to dominate. It doesn't work that way. Something happening to Algeria now. They want to keep playing. They feel that once Mahrez steps into the field, Mahrez will dominate like he used to. Mahrez is now in Saudi Arabia. He's no longer playing top class level football with Manchester City. So yeah. So Egypt put a lot of pressure using their younger players to try and destabilize Ghana. Ghana came with a good plan, and they had Kudus. Without Kudus, no chance whatsoever. I was shocked at that turnover by Inaki Williams, who normally is a very reliable player. He turned that one over for them to get the equalizer. Unfortunately for him.
I don't think they're going
again, Ghana, I don't see Ghana going too far. Mainly not because of ability, but because they are quite careless. Right? The team isn't quite there in terms of being solid, keeping a solid shape, protecting the ball, and all that. They leave too open. For my liking.
I don't think they're going to improve on that. we having technical ability. Sometimes coaches can work on those as the tournament progresses. If they manage to qualify to the next stage, obviously, the competition will take different shape. We have seen teams struggle in the group stage, especially the traditional teams. Sometimes they come to the tournament with poor performances, and they grow as the tournament progresses.
Yeah, but those teams have always have at least 3 or 4.
So they don't have the
Ghana. I can count perhaps more than Kudus. And the other attacking midfielder that has breaks. The rest of them.
What about Choma's friend?
It's been a draw. It's been 2 draws.
Who is that?
Jordan, are you?
They don't have enough firepower. Really make a dent on the tournament. But well, so far so good for them. It's been a draw. It's been 2 draws actually. They're in danger.
Definitely. They have to win their next game to have a chance. If they don't win the next game, even if it's a draw, they are done. They are done. That is for sure. Yeah, of course. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys before we round up this one is: do you think that the tournament has been a good marketing or show for African football, for us to gain respect continentally? So far, what you have seen after the round of in the season of 2 games.
Sorry, let me go first. Yeah, I think so. I think the games have been watchable. I haven't been super bored watching anything. Even the Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, is one that I thought was going to be.
Yeah, that game was exciting.
Non-first, wasn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't take your eye off the game. Even when Equatorial Guinea was leading 4-1, Guinea-Bissau was still pushing. And as a matter of fact, like you mentioned earlier, if that deflection had gone in, they still had 2 or 3 minutes to probably come back into that game. And we've seen it happen before in football. So it was really, he couldn't believe that it was Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau that was having such an exciting game going on. I agree with you on that one. Choma, you think the standard has been good so far? Of course, it's not going to be the best in the world, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that one.
Entertainment.
Oh yeah, because my argument is Africa can't be the footballers' hub for nothing. I think Africa is a football hub for football players, because we keep churning these guys out and all of that. Every game I have watched from the start of this tournament, I expect entertainment. Serious. Because in as much as there are teams that need to still work on themselves, but they are very entertaining.
Yeah.
Some teams actually have like they are breaking home-based players into the national team. Some teams have a mixture of the Janded boys and bit of homegrown. Some teams are also going through transition. While we were speaking about transition, I realized that is one of the challenges African teams have. It's like some of us just want to keep going on the past glory. So when we're doing the whole transition thing, it's hard. We don't know where to start. Because people are speaking about South Africa and their own wahala, their short-sightedness, and then there's this whole transition thing happening. They don't know how to immerse, like they don't know how to start.
I don't think it's an African thing.
Ivory Coast is the same thing they're going through. Ghana going through the whole thing, same with Super Eagles. They start started, team, but there's still this whole people are still trying to get embedded and transition and have the chemistry that they need. But this tournament is mind blowing.
Yeah, I don't think it's an African thing. Yeah, I think it's a football stuff. Once a team manages to form a formidable team, it's always difficult to break it. It only takes a few renowned coaches to have the confidence to break those teams. People like Arsene Wenger, you can imagine him letting Vieira to go and brought in a 16-year-old Cesc Fabregas. Ferguson does that too. But after those generation of coaches, I don't think any team, both national and club levels, they always find it difficult to let go of their what the group calls their golden generation. It's always a problem in football. You remember as well, Alex Ferguson, as a matter of fact, was guilty of that at some point. Before he left Manchester United, he ran that team to the ground because he kept going with the same players. All of a sudden, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes just got old overnight, and there was nobody to take over from them, and that's what the team is still struggling to today. So I think it's a football stop because nobody wants to lose. You cannot have your best leg and you take a chance of playing an unknown quantity. So I don't think it's really an African thing. It's just a football stop because the fans want to win, the coach wants to win, the owners want to win. Everybody in there that's connected to any team wants the team to win their games. And the only thing you have to do is to most of the time have the potential of playing the players that you trust, and that makes them sometimes overstay their welcome. Okay, guys, our viewers, again, these were three very exciting games today played in the AFCON. We have talked about them. We've given our views and our positions on how these games panned out. We want to hear from you, our viewers, what you think about these games. I think personally, I agree with Nkem and Ubum and Chioma that the standard in this competition so far for first games and second games has not been bad, and I think Africa should hold their head high. It's another competition that we have seen so far, and it can only get better as the competition progresses. So let's know or hear what you have to say about these matches so far, about the teams, our viewers from Uganda, from Cameroon, from Ghana, Nigeria, in United States of America, here in UK. Let's hear and know what you feel about this tournament so far. Is there anything you have seen that you think that generally should be addressed? For me, one of the things that stood out for me so far in this competition is the commitment the players have shown and the fight they have shown for the badge and for their nationalities to defend their pride. So guys, thank you for stopping by.